You ever sit across from someone on a first date, sipping on overpriced coffee or poking at a shared plate of fries, and suddenly feel like you're in an audition for a horror movie you didn't sign up for? Not in a literal, they might be a serial killer way, though let's not rule anything out, but in the, oh no, I've made a huge mistake kind of way? Yeah, we've all been there, or will be. So buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the murky waters of first date red flags. These aren't the cute little warning signs you can laugh off. These are the big flapping red banners that say, run. Let's start with the obvious but often ignored. They only talk about themselves, and not in the charming, let me tell you a quick story way. I mean full-on monologue. You could walk away, rejoin the date 10 minutes later, and they wouldn't even notice because they're too busy telling you about their summer in Ibiza, their gluten-free lifestyle, or how they're almost famous. You ever been on a date where you say a grand total of 3 words and 2 of them are, check please? That's not a date. That's a podcast, and you're the unpaid sound technician. Then there's the ex talk. You know the one. It starts casual. My ex and I used to come here. And suddenly you're in the middle of an emotional reenactment of a breakup that should have been left on red. Look, we're not saying you can't have a past, but if your date starts spiraling into a saga about how their ex still has their Netflix password and maybe their heart, yeah, that's a red flag wrapped in unresolved trauma. Another one? Rudeness to staff. It doesn't matter how good they smell or how nice their jawline looks in that lighting. If they're snapping at the waiter, rolling their eyes at the barista, or treating anyone in the service industry like they're less than human, you're not on a date with someone classy. You're auditioning for a nightmare. Bonus points if they say something like, I just expect good service, because that translates roughly to, I think being a jerk makes me look important. And let's talk about phone etiquette, shall we? We're all glued to our devices. That's just life now. But if they're scrolling Instagram, texting their mom, or God forbid, checking Tinder notifications while you're talking about your favorite movie, that's not just disrespectful, it's a neon sign that says, you're not interesting enough to hold my attention. Maybe you're not, but they don't get to decide that 5 minutes in between selfies. Then there's the date who comes in hot with the future plans. Not cute, dreamy, we should totally go to that new ramen place next weekend. Future plans. I mean serious. So how many kids do you want? Or, my parents would love you level of future talk. It's date 1. You still don't know if they recycle or believe pineapple belongs on pizza. You should not be mapping out your retirement plan together. How about the ones who make everything a competition? You say you ran a 5K once, and suddenly you're in an impromptu brag-off about who has more endurance, more discipline, more everything. It's not a game show. You're not winning a prize for being the most impressive human. You're just trying to see if you like each other enough to split a dessert. There's also a very special kind of red flag, the one who can't stop dropping names. Celebrities, CEOs, influencers you've never heard of, but they swear are huge in Europe. If someone spends more time talking about the people they know than about who they are, chances are they're trying to distract you from the fact that there's not much going on under the hood. It's like ordering a fancy cocktail and realizing it's 90% garnish. Let's not forget the overdrinker. You're at dinner and they've already ordered their 3rd drink before the appetizers arrive. Now, no judgment if you like a good buzz, but if your date is slurring their words, sharing unsolicited conspiracy theories, or suddenly becoming a karaoke superstar in a restaurant that does not have a mic, you might be seeing a preview of what every Friday night looks like. Then there's the one-upper. You say you've been to Mexico. They've backpacked through the Andes. You mention your job. They casually drop that their startup was acquired for $1 bajillion, but they just needed a break from the corporate grind. This isn't a date, it's an ego Olympics. And unless you're training for competitive narcissism, you might want to peace out. Some red flags are subtle, like how they talk about other people. If they're constantly putting down their friends, mocking strangers, or trashing their coworkers, that's a glimpse into how they'll talk about you when you're not around. Kindness isn't just about how they treat you. It's how they treat everyone when they think it doesn't matter. Let's talk financial weirdness. Now, I'm not saying someone needs to pull out a black card and foot the whole bill, but if they act like they forgot their wallet or start calculating your drink down to the penny, that's a red flag, especially if it comes with a side of entitlement or passive-aggressive commentary like, wow, you ordered the expensive one. Newsflash, it's a date, not a tax audit. Then we have the overly mysterious type. A little mystery, sexy, complete vagueness about what they do for work, where they live, or even their last name, not sexy, suspicious. If it feels like you're on a date with a government secret, you probably are, and not in the cool spy movie kind of way, more in the they have three identities and none of them are employed kind of way. We can't leave out the ones who make you feel bad about yourself. They toss out backhanded compliments like, "You're pretty smart for someone who didn't go to college," or "You're so brave to wear that." Brave? What is this, a battlefield? If your date makes you feel like you need a pep talk after the meal, that's not chemistry. That's emotional erosion. And beware the love bombers. Oh yes, the ones who are all in immediately. You're 2 drinks into happy hour and they're already telling you you're the one, talking about soulmates, and saying things like, "I've never felt this connection before." Either they fall in love with everyone, or they're trying to fast track you into something intense so you don't have time to notice their red flag collection. Sometimes the red flag isn't something they say, but the vibe they give. You feel like you have to walk on eggshells, or you're not sure how they'll react to a joke. If your gut is whispering, "This ain't it," listen. Your intuition is your own personal bouncer. It knows what's up. Oh, and let's not forget the ghoster in training. Mid-date, they keep checking their watch or looking over your shoulder. You can almost feel the disinterest radiating off them like heat off a summer sidewalk. They're mentally halfway out the door. If your presence feels like an inconvenience, take the hint and grant their unspoken wish. Don't text them later. And then, classic red flag alert, the conversational bulldozer. You try to share something and they steamroll right over it. You mention you love to cook and they instantly start ranting about their paleo diet and how carbs are a scam invented by Big Bread. No give and take, no curiosity, just one long TED Talk. Then there's the constant tester. They drop little provocations to see how you react. Comments like, "Most people can't handle me," or "Let's see if you're different than my last dates." You're not their therapist or their challenge. You're a person trying to see if this spark is worth your time. And if they can't laugh at themselves, run. Seriously, if someone takes themselves so seriously that they can't laugh when the waiter spills water or they trip over their own joke, that's a walking time bomb of insecurity. Life's too short to spend it with someone who treats every moment like a job interview. Look, first dates are weird. They're hopeful and awkward and full of possibility, but they're also auditions for both of you. And while it's easy to get swept up in the excitement, don't ignore the gut punch moments that make you pause. Red flags aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they're subtle, but no less significant. Because the truth is, the right person won't leave you confused, exhausted, or Googling, "Is this a red flag or am I just hungry?" They'll show up with curiosity, respect, a dash of charm, and maybe, just maybe, the willingness to split the fries without turning it into a metaphorical battleground. So go on those dates. Be open, be yourself, but keep your eyes open too. Because when you see the red flag coming, it's not your job to color it beige. It's your job to say, "Thanks, but no thanks," and swipe left in real life. You've got better things to do than become someone else's cautionary tale. And hey, if you've ever been that red flag on a date, don't worry. We've all had our moments. Just maybe don't bring up your crypto losses 5 minutes into the appetizer next time. Live and learn. Stay sharp out there, lovebirds. And remember, if it looks like a red flag, waves like a red flag, and makes you feel like you're in danger of secondhand embarrassment, it's probably not the start of a fairy tale.